June 15th. I mean, on the surface, it's just another ordinary day on the calendar, right? Well, welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to zero in on this exact date, because if you look closely, you'll find this absolutely crazy thread that connects the very foundations of our modern digital world.
It turns out, on this single date, across completely different centuries and countries, brilliant minds were born who literally and secretly built the tech we rely on every single day. We're talking 1640 in France, 1906 in England, all the way to 1933 in Iraq. Let's dive in and meet them.
Starting off with Section 1, Math and Visual Arts, 3D worlds and flat screens.
Okay, have you ever actually stopped to wonder how your favorite video game renders these massive, incredibly realistic 3D worlds on a completely flat TV or phone screen? Like, how does a gaming console actually trick your brain into seeing depth where there literally isn't any? Well, the answer goes all the way back to June 15, 1640, with a French mathematician named Bernard Lamy. Born right in the thick of the scientific revolution, he actually started unraveling this modern mystery over 300 years ago.
Lamy pulled off something pretty remarkable. He took the super strict rules of mathematical geometry, like the parallelogram of forces, and applied them directly to visual perspective. Basically, he proved that to draw something that looks genuinely three-dimensional, you don't just guess, you follow specific geometric rules. He showed us that a picture is basically an open window, and you can trace the exact rays of visibility using math. And honestly, that exact idea is the entire reason our modern computers and smartphones can instantly calculate and render complex 3D graphics today.
Which brings us to this massive aha moment. Lamy wrote, "Every picture is a perspective. Mathematics is the foundation of painting." Every single 3D game you've ever played is secretly running on his math.
All right. Still on June 15th, but we're going to jump forward 266 years. Same date, totally different century.
That brings us to Section 2, Secure Communications, Hiding from Hackers.
Think about this for a second. How exactly do your banking apps and private text messages stay completely hidden from hackers while they're flying around the incredibly public internet? It's a real mystery when you think about it.
And the answer for this one? It goes back to June 15, 1906, and a guy named Gordon Welchman. He was an English mathematician and, get this, a legendary World War II codebreaker over at Bletchley Park. Now, Welchman didn't just break codes. He practically invented this thing called traffic analysis to hunt down hidden patterns in enemy communications. He managed to pinpoint flaws in the Enigma machine that drastically reduced the combinations they needed to crack it. But honestly, his biggest legacy? He figured out how to design completely secure battlefield networks that the enemy just couldn't infiltrate. That exact blueprint is why our digital networks, our Wi-Fi, our entire banking system is safe from hackers today. We're quite literally still using his architecture.
He left us with his absolutely crucial principle. He said, protection against enemy infiltration is just as important as breaking their codes. It's an invisible race, and every encrypted message you send today relies on the architecture of protection he helped build.
Okay, still June 15th. We've hit 1640, we've covered 1906. Now let's move forward just a few decades to a completely different country for an even bigger idea. Here comes our final visionary.
Section 3. Powering modern GPS and navigating the planet.
Here's something we all take for granted. Why does your phone's GPS always know exactly where you are, even when you're barreling down a highway at 70 miles an hour? How do satellites floating way up in outer space keep you from getting lost on your way to a new restaurant?
The answer brings us to June 15th, 1933, and Moshe Carmeli. Born in Iraq, he grew up to be this brilliant Israeli mathematical physicist who literally looked to the stars for answers. So Carmeli took on the monumental task of updating Albert Einstein's relativity using something called gauge theory. I know, it sounds super dense, but basically, he calculated the complex math of how objects actually move through gravitational fields. He proved that time literally ticks differently depending on how fast you're moving and where you are in space. Because he figured out these wild, abstract cosmic rules, our GPS satellites can calculate the exact time differences needed to pinpoint our exact location down on the ground. Without his math, our digital maps would be hopelessly broken. Which leads to this total mind-bender of a quote. He said, "Time is relative. It can only be measured relative to the position and velocity of the measurer," meaning every time you check your map app for directions, you are quite literally using astrophysics. How cool is that?
Finally, Section 4, the pattern in the chaos. Let's tie this all together. Let's just look back at our timeline one last time. June 15th.
1640, 1906, 1933. 3 different years, 3 very different lives, all somehow bound by this one single date on the calendar.
What's truly amazing here is that every person we met today, despite living in totally different centuries and countries, all shared one core mission. They were all asking the exact same question. What is the hidden pattern inside the chaos?
And because they were brave enough to ask those complex questions, just look at the world we have today. Lamy's geometry gave us modern 3D graphics, Welchman's logic secured our entire internet, and Carmeli's physics mapped out our physical world with GPS.
So, I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take away from today's explainer. How much of your daily life is secretly governed by a mathematical equation discovered centuries ago? The next time you fire up a video game, send a secure text, or just check your GPS, remember June 15th and the invisible math that surrounds us every single day. Thank you so much for hanging out.